97.9 The Box, what's going on? It's Amir Diamond, it's Late Night Hype, Season 2, with a special guest right now. Man, first of all, I'm super proud of you, because, for those who don't know, this dude, he was the very first person that I interviewed at U of H back in 2012. My first interview, Damilare Sonoiki. I know how to pronounce your name right, too.
I was surprised. I was just like looking at you like, oh wow.
Yeah, because 3 years ago it took me like 3 hours to get it right. So it's Damilare Sonoiki. I don't know what your title is though. What do you call yourself?
I guess I'm a staff writer on the show.
A staff writer on Blackish.
Yeah.
A staff writer on ABC's Blackish, which is nominated for 10 nominations at the NAACP Image Awards this year. 2016.
2006. Yeah, and we have we made it like, so all these like best of lists just came out, like best shows in 2015. We were like Complex, New York Times, AFI, which is huge. Like there's only 2 comedies on their list. Like there were only 2 comedies, like Master of None and Us. And then a lot of lists, like we're like the only broadcast comedy. So it's been crazy. Like it's been really, really cool. Like I feel like I just got so lucky to hop in, like just sign on in season 2. Representing
for Houston, Texas, because that's where you're from. But now you out there. Is it considered Hollywood, or you just say out there in LA?
LA. I'll say LA, because we shoot in Burbank. So.
So do you feel like you're partly responsible for this 10 nominations? Because you weren't on season 1. You weren't on season 1, and you are on season 2 now. So are you responsible?
Not at all. I want to joke and say it's all me, but then it'll get taken out of context and be like, oh, no, not at all. I mean, it's like the staff is crazy experienced. Like, you know, Kenya Barris, he's the creator, and there's like, there are 14 writers total, and like I feel like I am just writing on their coattails. Like they really, really, they're all veterans. Like they, there's so many great credits in the writers' room. There's like, people who worked on Will and Grace, Arrested Development, like, tons and tons of different shows. So how does the writer's room work? Do y'all all go in there one day and there's an idea already on the table and y'all put y'all ideas, or do certain people come up with ideas on certain days? Like it's like, it's almost like, I would say it's like a middle school like lunch table. Like we all just sit around a table and just kind of like talk, and like the episodes will come out of that kind of like it's very very collaborative. Like we'll all just sit around a table. And like we'll some days we're like, all right, we're trying to think of fresh, like new kind of episode ideas, and so we'll throw out like different topics, and like a lot of times they'll come from a story, like maybe like a thing that happened to one of the writers, or especially a thing that happened to the creator, Kenya Barris, and then like the episodes will get born out of that, and then it goes from like kind of like very broad. Like the first episode was about the N-word. So you're like, all right, like let's have an episode about the N-word. Like he might tell a story about something that happened to him, or like his daughter or something. And then it goes from that. It's like, all right, well that's the topic, but like what's the story? So then we figure out, all right, like, let's say the little boy says the N-word in a school play, and then or in a talent show, and then this is how Dre reacts, this is how Bo reacts, this is how Lawrence reacts, this is how Ruby reacts, like this is how. So then we kind of like come up with the story. Off of the kind of idea. How did you even become a writer, I guess, is the question, because you didn't go to school for it. Yeah, no, it was crazy. So I went to, I studied economics in school, but I wrote for this magazine called the Harvard Lampoon, and so like Conan O'Brien. Why are you just talking about Harvard University like it's just some little tiny school that nobody knows about? That's a big deal, Damilare. Thank you. Yes, sir. So go ahead. So there's this magazine called the Harvard Lampoon, and like Conan O'Brien wrote for it, and like I think it's been around since like 1876, and all these people, like a lot of I was on the magazine. I think my freshman year I got on the magazine, and I'm over the 4 years in school I met all these people who wrote for TV shows like 30 Rock, The Office, Saturday Night Live, and I was like, man, like they, I just loved, they were all really funny, like they would come back, and they just seem to have the perfect work-life balance. So I think like, everyone wants to find a job that like, pays well, but also you enjoy, and I think that coming out of school, out of college, and maybe even out of Harvard especially, like it kind of seems that there's like very two polar opposites. It's like you can find a job that pays really, really well, but like you pay for it in other ways. Like you don't get to see your family. You're working all the time. You're working 80-hour weeks. Like you just it's just soul crushing. Or you get a job that like doesn't pay, you know, it doesn't pay great, but you know, you have a good, you know, you enjoy what you're doing. I was like, man, you know, I kind of raised like an immigrant, you know, like, you know, first generation immigrant, like, you know, you want to get, you know, make a lot of bread, you know, and support your family and like whatever. But, you know, I didn't want to hate my life either. And so I felt like I would meet all these writers and like they seem to have like the perfect balance. Like they really enjoy their jobs. You know, they seem to have like, you know, they like, you know, earned well and like they had the kind of best of both worlds. And then even like certain shows, I know certain TV shows like they have long hours. Like we don't at Blackish, fortunately, but you know, certain ones do. And so, but even then, you get like 3 months off in between seasons, or even sometimes more, like if it's a cable show. And so, you know, I wrote for this magazine, and like through that, I got an agent at WME, which is like one of the big agencies like in New York that represent like actors and writers and stuff like that. And so, you know, about all the time I was in school, I was doing like finance, like I was working on Wall Street in the summers. And so I told my agent like I still want to do that after I graduate, like to save up some bread. But then, you know, after I want to do that for maybe a couple of years and then come out to LA. And they're like, all right, fine, you know.
But that wasn't a couple of years, was it? It felt like it was like 6 months, and then you were
out
in LA.
No, it was 2 years. It was from summer 2013 until this summer. Really, it just happened. I mean, I got so lucky that it happened very quick. Like, I had this really good friend. It was her birthday in March, like March 2015. I came out to LA for a week, and I told my agent I'll be there for a week. And he was like, all right, we'll set you up on a bunch of meetings. Like, he sent some of my like writing around to different people, and including the creator of Blackish. And then he liked me, he liked my background, he liked kind of my story. He liked, you know, he thought the stuff they sent him was funny. So I met with him. I met with, you know, these executives and stuff who's involved with the show. And I met with him. His name is Kenya Barris. And then in the other showrunner, this guy Jonathan Groff. They run the show together, and they both really liked me. And then, you know, one thing kind of led to another. And like a month later, my agent called me like right after, like, oh, they really like you. They're trying to figure out different things. I think like, you know, budget or whatever. And then, you know, like that took a little bit of time. Like a month later, like say in April, I got the call that they were like, oh, you know, you're you know, it's closed, like your deal or whatever.
Man.
And so I was like, you know,
congratulations.
No, thank you. It was great. I was very nervous for that.
So, which one of those people, was it Kenya or Jonathan? Which one of them are, obviously, I guess it's both of them, that didn't have King Kieran's number?
Oh.
How did, because, okay, go ahead. You tell
well, no, it's funny. Yeah, they should give, you gotta get a credit for casting.
Yes, put me on that payroll.
For casting, no. Because Kenya really liked King Kieran's videos on, like, you know, his Vine and, like,
everywhere.
Videos. And, like, cause like, it's hard to be funny in those, like, you know, 15 seconds.
Yes.
Or, like, what, 7 for Vine, like, you know.
And he'll make a whole movie in 15 seconds to get the whole point across.
Exactly. And so Kenya really liked King Kieran's videos. I think he had been thinking about Kieran, you know, just like, he's like, oh, there'll be something for him on the show, hopefully. And then, you know, that thing popped up. Like, it was like maybe a Thursday or something. And, like, we were shooting that episode, you know, the next week. Because we shoot, like, an episode a week. And, like, so we'll have certain weeks off. But the actors do. But, you know, he was like, he wanted Kieran, but like Kieran does all his own business, and so he couldn't find Kieran's info. And so I was like, man, I'm from Houston, Kieran's from Houston, like, I'm sure, you know, I know Amir, I know somebody, you know, Fells, like, somebody's gonna have Kieran's number. And like, literally, like, I hit you up, and like, within 5 minutes, I was on the phone with Kieran, and then, you know, he was, you know, casting. So, you know, Houston,
I got that fool, man.
Take care of each other.
So, your favorite episode?
It's hard. It's like, I mean, I don't have any kids, thank God, but, you know, it's like asking your favorite, you know,
thank God.
Not thank God. No, I was gonna say that and be like, what? No, you know, so, it's, you know, one, I guess, like, I like them all, but I guess the N-word I like a lot, and then the one, you know, the barbershop one means a lot to me because it was like, you know, my barber back home is T, his name, and like when I, you know, I was like that came from all of our experiences, like the black men in the room, you know, like just the men in the room as far as like, you know, even, really everyone in the room as far as like their experience, like, because women with hairdressers and like it's a similar kind of dynamic where you know you cheat on your barber, it's like, you know, you don't do that. And so, but like when I met with them, they're like, oh, one of the questions they asked me was like, any ideas for episodes, and I had this barber in New York that, you know, I cheated on. You know, I went to, you know, I've been going to this dude.
Did your hair turn out like Anthony Anderson?
No, it went the opposite way, thank goodness. But like, you know, I went to.
So wait, did you end up going to that new barber?
Oh yeah, they're in the same shop. I think one time this barber, the original was kind of backed up, and so I went to this other dude His name was Low Styles. So I was going to do Shadow. I've been going to him since I was like interning in New York, like maybe like 2011. And so I always went to Shadow in this shop in Midtown New York called Diamond Cuts. It's on like 40th and 8th. And I went to like right shortly before I went to I met with Blackish. I went to this dude Low Styles because Shadow was backed up. And Low Styles, man, he just gave me, I mean, like,
he's so wrong.
Like he gave me a fade. It was, I mean, woo. I was feeling good.
Well, you were blessed because it could have turned out totally different.
He told me I looked like 50 Cent. He was like, Low Styles was just, I don't even know if that's a compliment, but either way, I was just like, man, like, Low Styles.
He looked like a superstar.
Yeah, exactly. So Low Styles, you know, so I just kept, and luckily they were on opposite sides of the shot. Like, literally, like, Shadow's all the way on the right, and Low Styles all the way on the left. So I went all, so like, you know, I was going, I'll be like really ashamed, I'll go to Low Styles. But no, it turned out well. But nah, it was so that episode is
one of your favorites. Favorite guest star on the show. It doesn't have to be thus far. It can be somebody who's about to come on.
No, I can't. I have to keep things under wraps. No,
I tried, y'all. I tried to get.
I can't tell, man. Anything exclusive. He going.
He's right. I don't know how to keep my mouth closed. I wanted to.
He always wants to scoot.
Make the announcement first. But favorite guest star that's been on the show.
I think that's a good. Oh, Tyra Banks. Either Tyra Banks or Amber Rose.
And Tyra Banks' episode airs tomorrow.
A week from actually
January 6th.
January 6th. It might be. It's tomorrow. Yeah, it's tomorrow apparently.
All right.
So either Amber.
Oh, okay. So is there anybody that you would want to see on the show?
Oh, that's a good question. I think we'd love to see Drake on the show.
That would be funny.
Because I think, you know, Drake is and also, like, you know, Drake has a relationship with Houston and, like, whatever. And I think, like, Drake and Keyron are kind of tight. I think, but even, like, aside from he's, like, funny, he hosted SNL. He did,
he's really good.
Yeah, he did, you know, he has an acting background. He hosted SNL. He, hosted, what's it called? The ESPYs. So, like, you know, I think, but also, like, as far as, like, Blackish, like, I think the whole point of Blackish is, like, you know, I think one of the things about one of the core things about Blackish is, like, what does it mean to be black? And, like, you know, Drake has that line that's like, you know, I used to get teased for being black and now I'm here and I'm not black enough. Like, that's kind of, like, one of the core, like, that's, like, you know, in some ways the central theme of Blackish, like, what does it mean to be black, right? Like, is there a way to be black? And I think, you know, Drake is somebody who gets a lot of flack for, like, you know, he's a Jewish, Canadian
What does it mean to be black?
I mean, I think one of the things I learned, you know, in school, just being on black, is that there's no, like, one way to be black, right? There's, you know, 30 million. I think Skip Gates used to always say, this professor at Harvard, was like, there are 30 million black people in America, there's 30 million ways to be black. So I think, you know, that
sums it up.
Yeah, and I think that's what the show, and it's funny because, like, there are people who get put off by the title, because I think some who, like, never watched the show just because of the title, and they're like, Blackish, like, well, you know, is that saying that, you know, and I think sometimes they think that we're saying the opposite, like, that there is a way to be black. But I think that's what the character and, like, that's what the stories end up, you know. I actually have, like, more general, broader stories, but, you know, a lot of times it kind of comes down to, like, there is no one way, you know, to be, like, you know, it's a black family, and they're, like Kenya always says, like, they're unapologetic, like, they're absolutely black. Like, they don't happen to be black, like, you know, they're absolutely black, but there are a lot of ways to be black.
What is Rachel Dolezal? Is she black or white?
She's white.
Okay, there we go. Okay, last question regarding Blackish. Then we're gonna let you go. What is it like behind the scenes or on set? Because I know there's some actors who are very, like, prim and proper and serious. Is it like that, or do y'all?
Nah, man, everybody's goofy, man. Tracy's funny and goofy. Anthony is funny, and I mean, Jennifer Lewis is a riot. Like, she's like, I mean, and if you don't know her by name, you know she was Aunt Helen. She's like the black mom in everything. Like, in every movie, every TV show, she's a black mom. And she plays Ruby. She plays the grandmother. I mean, Lawrence Fishburne is super cool. And, like, the kids, I mean, they're, you know, it's funny. Like, sometimes, like, those be riding their bikes. Like, I think, you know, everyone's just so, like, it's like a family. You know, like, everyone's super cool, and, like, everyone's really laid back. Like, no one's a diva. You know, everyone's just really, really, like, you know, it's really like a family. Like, and everyone's just excited. You know, we're all excited to be, you know, like, to be involved in something that's, like, feels special.
Damilare Sonoiki, what is your social media handles?
Oh, yeah, it's DSONOIKI. So D Sonoiki on Twitter, Instagram. I guess that's it. Twitter and Instagram.
You're not on Facebook?
I go back and forth on Facebook. Like, I'll keep it deactivated for like 3 months, then I'll reactivate it. So
Snapchat?
Same thing. Yeah, it's true. Same. That's what I was thinking of. Same thing on Snapchat. Yeah, Sonoiki. So DSONOIKI.
Periscope.
I guess I have a Periscope.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I don't use it.
You got everything.
It's all in the same handle too. So somebody's gonna try to find the new thing and take it.
And then we didn't even get to talk about the West documentary.
That's how we first. I want to see if I could do something with that. So I sent it to my agent to see if maybe if I could like put it on some sort of platform. But
he made a documentary about the lifestyle, is that the right word? Or the culture of Southwest A-Leaf, Texas. And I just looked it up. It has over 200,000
It's crazy. I never even promoted it. I mean, I never really promoted it. It was all, I just like tweeted it or something. But Maxwell is in it, and like people have discovered Maxwell off of that. Like obviously Maxwell Cleveland's been doing his thing, but some people, like ASAP. I ran to ASAP Rocky recently, and he was like, he, like a lot of those dudes discovered him off that documentary. But like it definitely took I think a little bit of a regret. It like took a very like not negative, but it showed like focused on one aspect of the culture. Like obviously A-Leaf and Southwest Houston, there's not just gangs and violence. There's like a lot of cool like a lot of like laid back and like positive things going on. But that was a look at kind of like the harsher aspects of it, because like me and my my friends who grew up there, like even like Fort Bend, like we had a lot of friends go down like these crazy paths, and it was kind of like a look, and also it was like a certain like a flashpoint at that time, because like this rapper from FDAV TOI just got killed by somebody who was like another clique, and so there was all these things going on there, and so it was just kind of like a snapshot at a very specific time in that like in the neighborhood.
Out of all the things that you've done, you went from Houston to Harvard to, I say Hollywood, but to LA. You're writing on a hit show, ABC's Blackish. Out of anything in the world, what is something that you have to scratch off your bucket list? What's one thing that you want to do that you haven't done yet?
Oh, wow. That's interesting. I think I want to build a business. I'm not sure, whether it's like entertainment or like music. I mean, I guess that's entertainment, like real estate, whatever. I think building a business would be cool. That's not sexy or exciting, but something,
That's money. That is exciting.
What is the degree to help?
Damilare Sonoiki, thank you for coming by. You got to come back again. Thank you for not giving me the cold shoulder like you did.
I know. That's a lie. That's a lie. I came up in there. We were in a classroom at U of H. We did an interview, first interview.
Mm-hmm. He was a little bit nervous though.
I was
nervous too. Yeah, I was nervous too.
See, y'all got to hear him when the microphone is off. Amir comes in, he's just like, what's up, it's Amir? It's like a light. It's like a light switch. It just turns on
when the red light comes on. Yeah. So when can I come on the show for Blackish?
Man, text me. We'll figure it out.
Okay, look out for me soon, y'all. I'm making my way. It's Damilare Sonoiki, one of the writers from ABC's Blackish, representing for Houston, Texas.
And Drake, hit me up. We'll make that happen.
Yes, Drizzy, we waiting on you. It's Amir Diamond's Late Night Hype on 97 on the Box.
Damilare Sonoiki. Peace.
Dope.